Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm David. I'm the CEO at a company called Blue Coding. We help companies in US and Canada hire software engineers in Latin America. I enjoy riding motorcycles, been doing that for a few years. I like hard enduro, I like adventure bikes. I enjoy traveling and I'm a private pilot. I'm sharing this video today to tell you a little bit about some of my stress management strategies that work really well for me and my team. So I've been going over the past few years through a number of difficult situations, and between therapy, coaching, and then just figuring things out, I've managed to come up with a few different strategies to deal with stress. Hey kitty, I think we're gonna have some of this sometime, huh? This is Charlie. Anyways, just wanted to share 3 stress management strategies that have worked for me. They work really well. And whenever you're in a stressful situation, depending on who you are, several things start to happen to you. In my case, for example, I start to feel the need to take action. Like, my response to stress is that I feel like I need to make changes now or else the world will end, right? And that's not true, obviously, but that's how I feel. I really feel like I need to go right now and make some changes in my life, in my work, whatever the heck I'm doing, to combat that stress. And so it's a very existential thing. There's no real logical explanation as to why you feel that way. But that urge to act now is actually very dangerous. The reason it's dangerous is because you're acting on feelings, you're not acting on reason. So anyways, going through this process, I figured out a few things. One of the first things I figured out was that the stress comes from various sources and often reflects in other sources. So for example, I might be feeling stressed about something in my work life, but that will reflect in my personal life, right? So even though the stress might have come from an angry customer, might have come from a situation at work that was bad, I might go and take it out on my partner, right? And feel like she's the source of the problem, or like something in our relationship needs to change. Same thing, might have had a bad day on my way to work. Might have had a situation in a relationship that then comes back to work, and I suddenly feel like I need to change the management team and restructure the budget and do all sorts of things. And that was an important thing to notice, because what it brought me to was the first strategy we have is avoiding stress, right? And when I'm saying avoiding stress is being aware of what things are likely to put you on edge and recognizing them early. So if you realize that you've started to have a bad day, something's going wrong, you ran out of gas, people aren't responding the way you'd like to at work, whatever it is, those things start adding up, and they can add up in various situations. So just be aware of that, and realizing where that stress comes from is really the first strategy. So once you recognize that you're now stressed, you're in that situation, if you're like me, you feel the need to take action. Once you realize that you're stressed, right, you can go and look at say, all right, where did that stress come from? What happened to me today? What happened to me yesterday? What added up to put me over the edge so that I felt like I need to make a change right now, right? What created that stress? And once you start recognizing that maybe that stress came from, hey, my order at the restaurant didn't really come out the way I expected it to, or that customer sent me a nasty email. And then also I had an issue with my kids and their school, whatever it is. Once you start adding up those things and you realize that your stress is coming from very mundane things, oftentimes, it's rare that we have a very, very serious problem that we can't get over, then that helps us manage it, right? Because it relieves us from the tension a little bit. It makes us realize that, whatever has caused us to be stressed isn't that big of a deal. That's the first strategy. Second strategy is going to be getting distracted. And the problem with stress is it's a very emotional state, right? Whatever you do while you're stressed, you're doing it in a state of emotion. You don't want to make any decisions under stress if you can avoid them. You don't want to do anything that you can't reverse, really. You want to avoid difficult conversations under stress, because then they might go the wrong way. So oftentimes, distracting yourself is a good way of letting the feelings pass. The feelings often diffuse themselves on their own. You just need to give them time, right? So in my case, I like to go hiking. So I might take a day off or an afternoon off and just go hiking in the mountains somewhere nearby me. And just think about other stuff, get my mind distracted. I enjoy sports that require my mind to be engaged. So for example, I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I do motorcycling. These are things where I can't really have time to think about other parts of my life because I need to focus on surviving. And some people want to do just a day at the beach, whatever it is that distracts you. Let the time pass. Some things just require an hour, some things require a day, sometimes some things require a week. But letting time pass before acting is often a good way to manage that stress. Final stress management strategy I'll share with you today is dimensioning the consequences of the current stress situation in the future. What that means is, what is this going to look like in 5 years? Does it really matter? How big of an issue is this, right? And so maybe you can start by thinking about, all right, what's the potential worst case scenario? So if everything goes wrong today with the situation I'm having, what does that mean for me in 5 years? Does it matter or does it not, right? So I'll give you an example. You have an angry customer today, you might lose the account. Does that matter in 5 years? Not really, not unless it's your biggest account and you're going to be in trouble as a company if you lose it, right? So that gives you a little bit of pause and lets you think and make the right decisions, because you realize that although you're super stressed about it today, it's not something that necessarily is going to affect you in the future, or not in a deep way. There's other situations where you might say, well, there is a possibility that this is a dangerous thing for my future, right? This might significantly affect my life. Now the next question is, well, how probable is it? Is that the unlikely scenario or is that the likely scenario? And oftentimes we'll find that most of the things that we care about today don't really matter in the future. Most of the things, is it a breakup? Is it you have to let somebody go? Is it you being let go? Whatever it is, oftentimes like those things, they're difficult today. They might be difficult this week. They're probably not going to be difficult in a month, and much less in a year. So these are just some things to think about. So the 3 strategies are going to be: 1, identify where the stress is coming from and try to figure out whether the situation is grave, right? So oftentimes we realize that our stress is actually coming from a bunch of small things that happen to us and just made us feel overwhelmed. The second thing is distracting yourself. So give yourself time. Go away for the weekend, go away for the afternoon, go watch some TV if you need to. Give yourself time so that the emotions can diffuse. Number 3, dimension the consequences of the situation, right? So figure out how important this is in the future. Once you have those 3, you'll probably be in a much better place to make decisions. Now, going back to that first one, I realized that if I can identify what things are causing me stress, or if things are causing me stress, then I can avoid other ones, right? So for example, you might be in a situation where you have to make a difficult decision today, but this morning you had a flat tire and your neighbor came up to you and was causing trouble, and another employee at your job was being difficult about something. Maybe that's not the day where you want to make that difficult choice, right? So anyways, just wanted to share those thoughts. These are some of the things that work for me in managing stress. I'll be sharing some more ideas in the future. Thank you.